Google Dictionary defines the raving Rabbids as... Blah.
God, these stupid little furballs. They're loud, and don't forget, they're loud. They're the Rabbids, and... God, very few video game species encapsulate the feeling of, we're back, it's so over, oh we are so back, more than the raving Rabbids from Ubisoft. Which, considering most of everything Ubisoft does tends to lean more towards the oh god, oh my god side of things, I guess it is better than nothing.
On one hand, we have a franchise that's based around a bunch of furry little guys that like to scream a lot, and they're in a bunch of minigame collections with a few exceptions for actual games in there, and they're trying to appeal to the same mainstream market that loves the Minions. That makes sense, but on the other hand, these are the guys that are partially responsible for Rayman sitting on the shelf for most of his life, so they can burn in hell for all I care. Oh, I'm sorry, was that too mean?
Over the last nearly 20 years of the Rabbids' existence, I can't help but admit that I have been fascinated this entire time. Like, it's understandable why they're popular, right? People really love the tiny, screaming idiot idea. The Rabbids are far from original. Hell, both the Rabbids and the Minions, which people compare all the time, both originated in France. All I'm saying here is we gotta start questioning the French agenda. But what if we actually dive into this franchise? What if we actually analyzed how they've been used this entire time? It's very clear that no two Rabbids games are the same, from general mechanics to overall quality, how annoyingly loud the Rabbids themselves are, how much Rayman gets mistreated and abused in all of them. Outside of making Ubisoft a ton of money, nothing about this franchise is consistent. I mean, thankfully the Rayman side has been a bit more positive as of late. He made his grand return in the DLC for Sparks of Hope, that's awesome. And even had a starring role in the Captain Laserhawk show where he, but like many others out there, even though I was slightly interested, I have been quick to dismiss everything Rabbids just because of how Rayman died in the process. But today, that all changes.
So my morbid curiosity strikes again. Let's play every single raving Rabbids game I could find, and then I'm gonna go crazy and check myself into the nearest institution. I don't know why I do this to myself. Let's take a trip down... the rabbit hole. God, I'm sorry.
As we're all aware, the Rabbids would likely not exist at all if Ubisoft didn't randomly decide one day to use Rayman's star power, which I swear to God, it did exist at one point, I promise you, to springboard this new furry species from a random new villain group to international stardom. It's like how Spyro the Dragon's name was sacrificed to make Skylanders more popular, and then the dragon no one cared about for many years after that. I will always be salty about this timeline. This ugly, stupid, pug-looking son of a... Now one could take a look at these guys and say they're not furry at all. And quite frankly, that disturbs me a whole lot, so I'm gonna just say that there's absolutely hair on these things. Thank you very much. You've probably seen the infamous original trailer for Rayman 4, this 3D platformer beat-em-up hybrid that would have used the Wii's hot new motion controls for combat. Seemed like an exciting idea for sure. I mean, Rayman's 1, 2, and 3 were all incredible for different reasons. Why would we possibly doubt Rayman 4?
See you in Rayman 4!
Ah, damn it. And then, of course, damn it. What's interesting about this story, though, is a few years back, an actual playable prototype of that original game was discovered. It's very clearly early in development, but wow, there was actually a lot more done than I initially thought. There was gunplay, there's these big sprawling environments with the Rabbids taking over. The actual battle environment from that original trailer, seeing that in high fidelity is kinda crazy looking back, giving me big Field of Heartless from Kingdom Hearts 2 energy. Rayman apparently was gonna get naked. Thank God. The YouTuber Frame Raider has done some great content on this stuff. Highly recommend watching when you get the chance. But, fine. With the mass appeal of motion controls and the immense hype of the Wii in 2006, the pivot to a minigame collection as a launch title for the console made perfect sense. I'm just sad about it, you know? Rayman's just out here one day chilling with... Dear God, what are those? Are those supposed to be the Glowbox children from Rayman 2? Are they diseased? And then, the Rabbids show up. They take Rayman, imprison him, and force him to have fun for their entertainment. Oh, how diabolical. What ensues afterwards is a few dozen minigames utilizing a bunch of different abilities of the Wii Remote, from pointing, to tilting, to waggling until your wrists give out, and everything in between. And it's fine. I've made it no secret in the past that I am a big fan of gimmicky BS with my video games. The Wii is one of my favorite consoles of all time, so I know a thing or two about crappy minigame collections, and I can tell you this much. This is one of them. I am willing to give the first Raving Rabbids a bit of a pass here when it comes to many things. For one, once again, it is the very first one. There is plenty of time to screw things up in the future. The Rabbids aren't unbearably loud yet, Rayman hasn't been completely abused yet, and for what it's worth, the minigames are actually pretty enjoyable. The story mode boils down to games having very forgiving score goals, so you're in and out of games pretty quickly. And the more you progress, you actually get to see the Rabbids that initially root against you start to root for you, even celebrating your mere existence in this big ol' stadium that they can afford somehow, which is impressive given we also have all of these on-rails FPS segments where you basically kill them all with a plunger gun. They're awfully forgiving and stupid, aren't they? They've been brain dead since day one. But little do these dumb Rabbids know, at the end of every single day, each plunger that they provide you is one day closer to freedom. One day, Rayman, one day, we will be free. Oh, delicious. The costume idea from the prototype is here as well. Look at that, fun little things for Rayman to get himself into. How fun. It's like Mario Odyssey so many years afterwards. However, unlike the prototype where it appeared to change the mechanics, here it's just the aesthetics. But hey, it's funny, right? Grandma Rayman, Gothic Rayman, Gangster Gangster Rayman. Oh no. It's okay, don't mind that. Watch Rayman dance to legally distinct covers of popular licensed music like Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. Hooray. God, it's giving me war flashbacks to mid-2000s Chipmunk remixes. Remember those? Man, I hope not. Hey, fun fact, did you know that the 360 version of this game is actually part of the Xbox backward compatibility program so you can play it on your Series X? No problem? Thank God for video game preservation, am I right? The funniest part about the original Raving Rabbids is it's very obvious that the developers behind the DS and Game Boy Advance versions didn't get the memo that we were supposed to be pivoting to a minigame collection. These two games do the unthinkable and actually make a Rabbids game that still treats Rayman with some respect. Goddamn, I'm shooketh. I mean, the stories are nearly identical. Rayman's chillin', the Rabbids take over, and while he only gets imprisoned in the GBA version, the Rabbid takeover remains the same. But instead of seeing how far you can throw a cow for your freedom, you're actually doing some platforming. What Rayman knows best. It's like that original trailer was for these two versions all this time. Back when I made the Rayman retrospective, I played enough of these games to get the basic gist of them, and that was about it. These fun little platformers where you play as Rayman, the Rabbids are the villains, and they were gonna have a platforming adventure with as little of a budget as possible. And upon going back to play some more, yeah, no, I hit the nail on the head. The GBA game uses the engine they created for Rayman 3, which was just an offshoot of Rayman Advance, and the DS game uses a modified engine they used for Rayman DS, which is already a port of the N64 version of Rayman 2. Neither game here is original. Just take it, alright? Just take it and play it and shut up. This is still the video game era of developers going, hey, look at this, our hot new game is releasing on every single console as well as portables, and refuses to ever reveal anything about said handheld versions. These games didn't see the light of day, no press ever saw them, until some random gamer that's the age of 6 popped it into their handheld for the first time ever. These two versions, they're cursed, man. It's like I'm viewing an alternate timeline in real time. I've since played more of each game, and I can confidently put my stamp on these two titles being fine. They're also just fine. There's nothing remarkable about them whatsoever. This really encapsulates Rayman's portable career in general. You remember Rayman 1 and 2 on Game Boy Color? Exactly. Not even the costume mechanics really work in this context. It's just locked mechanics tied to either swapping to them at free will on GBA or context-sensitive platforms on DS. But you know what the GBA version doesn't have? Platforming to a Rabbids remix of Good Times. Guys will just see this and go, hell yeah. Also on the box art for the GBA version, Rayman's wearing pants, and like, I don't know, man, that's just weird. Get those pants off, you know what I'm saying? Only the most hardcore of Rayman fans out there should ever dare giving these games a go. You're not missing much otherwise. The most interesting thing to come out of them, outside of their mere existence and that these would be the last original Rayman platformers until Origins in 2011, is some of the GBA music shows up in the Playtopia world in the excellent fan game Rayman Redemption. Shout out to Rayman Redemption once again, still the best thing to happen to this franchise in a decade. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot, this is a Rabbids video. By this point, the Rabbid takeover has gone worldwide. Nobody is safe from the Rabbid epidemic. Oh god, run and hide, they have plungers! Yeah, you know, Rayman, amazingly enough, just leaving them be without destroying them has massive repercussions. Wow, I can't believe it. Now look at them, they're trying to learn human culture. That can't be good. But thankfully, to make up for his past mistakes, Rayman is here once again to stop the evil villains. By pretending to be a rabbit the whole time. I hate this is gross. He's already been relegated to simply being a skin of a generic rabbit. I'm gonna die, but haha, look at that, he's holding the original Wii game. It's funny!
Yeah, I'm going into this slightly biased. How can you tell?
Yeah, it's another minigame collection, alright. You still got plenty of motion control shenanigans. That Ubisoft money means more rabid remixes of licensed music like Funky Town. And even the FPS segments are back, but this time, they take place in the real world. Wow, graphics will never get better than this. There is a fundamental difference though. Rather than the minigames being goal-based like the first one was, they are score-based in Rabbids 2. Most of the minigames are just every player playing at the same exact time, competing for the high score on the same playfield. And I don't know, that's a lot less interesting to me. One of the minigames is literally just hold the Wii remote and nunchuck to your temples. That's it. Brother, lucky for you, I was already doing that. Maybe it makes for a more enjoyable multiplayer experience since you don't have the other players waiting for you to finish your turn, but surprisingly enough, none of my friends said yes to would you like to play Rayman Raving Rabbids 2 with me in the year 2024. I will say though, the Jackass reference, kudos, that was funny. But man, why did we have to dumb down Rayman to get the point across? Like, come on, he's just a bumbling idiot now, like, I get it, it's funny, the rabbits can't tell it's you, but why are we doing this? Alright, whatever, it's another fine enough minigame collection. Maybe like the last time, the DS version is gonna be nope, minigame collection. Awesome, and boy, lucky for you, if you thought there was way too much Rayman in the Wii version, the DS has you covered. He's relegated to just the victory screen this time. This sucks. Yo, somebody check my pulse real quick. I think that's it for me. Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party. Oh, look at that. The Rayman part of the logo is getting smaller. That's reassuring. Yep, the Rabbids are still taking over. This time they're invading our TVs. Not to be confused with the actual cartoon, Rabbids Invasion, where Ubisoft decided to make that plot a reality. Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party, based on a true story. Aw, okay, hey, look at that. The little guy's messing with the TV settings. Aw, stop messing with the screen, you silly goose. Oh, this is a horror game, I guess. No, thank you. We're 3 games in and I'm already running out of things to say. Once again, we have found ourselves in another minigame collection. And fans of Toxic by Britney Spears, myself included because of course, oh boy, are we ever in heaven here.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling?
I mean, I guess there is the television theme now, but that only pertains to the menus. Everything else is just another Rabbids game. But with a thinly veiled story of Rayman simply living in this log cabin with an annoying TV on at all times that he can't leave for some reason. Okay, I guess that's not entirely true. Sometimes commercial breaks pop up mid-minigame that will give you a perk if you succeed at them. Are you thrilled yet? Oh, hey look, another Jackass reference. Rabbit ass. That's the best thing so far. This actually isn't the first time I've talked about TV Party either. I've talked about this game in the past in my balance board episode. Because yeah, still the only interesting thing about this game, it actually works with the Wii balance board. Okay, well, works is a bit of a hyperbole. Certain minigames recognize the balance board. Whether or not they actually work as advertised is anybody's guess. But in this instance, I'm anybody, and my say is no, it doesn't. But hey, at least there's the peeing game. Thankfully, you'll be happy to know that when it comes to the DS version, Ubisoft went above and beyond to make sure that this time, it's the same. It's the same game. This time we got a stupid, soulless board game to tie things together that's terrible. The minigames work just about as well as they ever could with the touchscreen. I mean, I guess that's fine. And getting anybody to actually play this game with you in real life, I don't know, that sounds impossible. Like listen, I know there are families all over the world that love games like this. What a nice, safe purchase for my kids, you know? Little Jimmy's out here asking for Super Mario Galaxy 2 and you go, nah, TV Party. But even if we remove the complete obliteration of Rayman as a character in these, they're just bland minigame collections. But hey, the Rabbids scream, so
Here comes the money.
whatever, moving forward, let's flip the script on the next one. The following release was Rabbids Go Home. Let's start on the DS this time. Not only has Raving been taken out of the title, but Rayman as well. Cool, we can finally stop pretending he matters anymore. Go Home released in late 2009, and Rayman Origins was revealed in summer 2011. So us Rayman fans like to call 2010 and early 2011 the dark, sad ages. And hey, you know what? Good on them. This isn't a minigame collection. Rabbids Go Home on DS is one of those incredible machine-like games where you have a few moving pieces and you gotta place other pieces down to complete the puzzle by getting your rabbit in a shopping cart to the end goal while collecting every traffic cone along the way. At this stage of the game, man, this is super refreshing. At first I was more nervous, like, oh god, look at these animations. This screams we had $2 to make this game. But no, even early on, stages take some genuine thought to figure out. The pieces that you have access to are fairly interesting. You can even create your own stages. Always love when a puzzle game does that. I mean, like, it's not amazing, but I'll be damned, this is the best game thus far. They actually took a tried and true puzzle game idea, put a neat twist on it without relying on the Rabbids just yelling their vocal cords out to get their point across, and we even got this brand new lore and art style, with the Rabbids looking to collect as much stuff as possible to build a tower to the moon. Is this a soft reboot of the Rabbids franchise? Things were going like really well up until now. You decided to reboot it anyway? Like, oh man, this is exciting stuff. Oh, what about the Wii version?
Alright, fine, I can't keep up the facade anymore. This video was just an excuse to go back and play Rabbids Go Home. Just being honest.
Dude, Rabbids Go Home on the Wii is sick. And I still can't believe it. In an attempt to keep the Rabbids fresh, this group of developers decided to take those loud, dumb, furball idiots that just like playing minigames all the time and put them on a grand adventure where they still get to be loud, dumb furballs, but now they're on a mission to go to the friggin' moon. And even before the adventure starts, you can tell this game cares, man. You're in the process of checking if your controllers work, nothing unusual here, but oh, there's a rabbit in the controller. Oh, no. It's okay. A little bit of abuse in the name of love never hurt nobody. Not like they can feel anything anyway. And okay, sure, the goal, straightforward, get to the moon. How do we do that? Well, naturally, load up on your shopping cart, head down to the human-infested mainland, and collect anything and everything you can possibly get your hands on and bring it back to the mountain to stack it all up in one vertical line. It's like that one episode of South Park. No better place to get your inspiration, honestly. This is truly the most devastating, unnatural force imaginable. Perfect Chaos has nothing on this. Oh, hell yeah. Capri Sun, respect the pouch.
You got it, boss. You know, I haven't had Capri Sun in like 10-15 years, but the strawberry kiwi one's actually pretty good. And there's a Pikmin theme going on right now, and that's pretty cool. This video's not sponsored, I swear. Also, I hope I don't have to do another take, because I don't want to open up another one.
Gotta talk about the humans real quick because their existence in this universe is hilarious. To quote and paraphrase the development team, the humans in this world were meant to be the exact opposite of the Rabbids. They have their emotions in check, their organs have atrophied, and they've nearly forgotten they have a body or a heart and can barely handle those. The Rabbids, on the other hand, represent emotions pushed to the extreme, and this dichotomy is meant to be an allegory for the, quote, internal debates that we have with ourselves each time we make a decision. Brother, this is a game where you can take a dying man and shove it down a pee-filled toilet. This ain't Shakespeare. Let's look past the deep-rooted philosophical undertones of Rabbids Go Home real quick. The game kinda goes for the Katamari idea of you being a tiny ball of destruction, causing havoc for everything in your path, with next to no penalties for your actions. The pure satisfaction of picking things up and watching everyone around you fear for their lives, with the jazz music in the background, it's so much fun. It's insane. What are you stealing, you may be asking? Well, nothing's off limits. The first mission has you go for this, like, little UFO thing. Not sure what that is, but that's fine. Multiple cows throughout the entire adventure, just multiple cows. Always good to get as many as possible. And by the end, you're getting a whole ass plane. Oh, we're definitely getting to the moon with that one. And there's just the right amount of keeping things interesting too. From these little cutscenes where the Rabbids are introduced to the new toys for the first time, to occasional new gimmicks for certain stages, like these rideable jet engines, inflatable tubes, and even some honest-to-goodness platforming. Every level is exciting. A couple times you also unlock a minigame when you finish up like an entire segment of worlds. There's one time you get to do a Simon Says game, and then another time you get to make incoherent music, and by doing so you unlock an additional hit point for your Rabbids, and then you move on, never to do those games again. Okay. And hell, I even like the Rabbids in this one. All they had to do was tone down their idiocy and general volume, and they become instantly more likable. I'm not even upset that Rayman's not in. Okay, well, that's not true. I'm still upset about Rayman not being a thing anymore around this time, but hey, I like the Rabbids, that's a miracle. You're even able to customize your Rabbid too, dude, yes. Listen, it's not precise whatsoever. You're restricted to the pointer controls and some very minor like rotation, and you can shrink objects and whatnot. Like, it's very basic and rudimentary, but I kind of prefer not having precision with this. Like, I just want to make him look as dumb as I possibly can. Look at this. I made Sonic. There he is. It's Sonic. I mean, it's no officially created Barack Obama as showcased on Ubisoft's official YouTube channel, but really, what is? Barack in the Wiimote. Am I having a stroke?
Guys, we're desperate for a new marketing strategy. Give me whatever you got. Oh god, Barack Obama.
Did you know that there's this menu that contains pre-made Rabbid designs unlockable via super secret cheat codes? It's a bunch of classic Ubisoft characters like an assassin, the Prince of Persia, the Splinter Cell, a Capri Sun pouch, Best Buy employee, Geek Squad employee. What? A while ago I talked about the dying man, right? Which is already hilarious because it's actually a reoccurring gimmick in this adventure and is one of the reasons you could do some actual platforming by puffing the air out of this dying man's... Okay, that's hilarious. But what about the few times you actually kill people? What about the literal only room in the game that is a morgue filled with literal dead bodies? You see, this is what happens when you don't respect the pouch. Even the art style that they use for the level opening cutscenes, like, it really goes to show that no matter how unliked and soulless something can appear, if you put that property in the right hands, you can truly make something special. The 100% reward is worthless, so don't even worry about getting a perfect score in all the stages. It is not worth it at all. But if you're worried about being a completionist in a game like this anyway, you're in the wrong department, I'm sorry. The DS game may still just be good at best, but I dare say that Rabbids Go Home is one of the most fun experiences you could find on the Wii. And if this is the brand new future for this franchise, I gotta tell you, I am super excited. Oh god, okay. Well, because we're not allowed to have nice things, I guess. Raving Rabbids travel in time for the Wii. Oh, the raving word is back. I noticed that. Raving Rabbids travel in time for the Wii is just... It's just another minigame collection. I mean, like, the production values are a lot higher than TV Party. Like, genuinely, the game does look and run the best out of any of the games we've covered thus far, but... This sucks, man. Once again, I'm well aware there are people all over the world who grew up with these games, and more power to you, but you gotta understand. It's very clear I've succumbed to some kind of syndrome seeing this franchise brutalize Rayman and then gaslight me into thinking that the one time they tried with this franchise, hey, you know what, it didn't happen. Back to the basics. And this is the first minigame collection in this list that has Rayman off the title. But luckily now, it's not that offensive anymore because at this point, Origins exists, so surely this means that we're gonna have a very bright future where both series can coexist successfully.
I can't say that with a straight face.
I suppose, ultimately, this is my favorite one of the bunch, barring Rabbids Go Home, but the bar is pretty low. The time travel gimmick barely makes sense either. Like, yeah, you teleport for each of the games, and maybe there's a cutscene indicating that you are, in fact, in a different time period, but all of the previous games are all over the place too. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't nail the gimmick as strong as TV Party did. But hey, it's humorous that the whole time you got toilet paper trailing alongside you. That's funny. That means he had a problem wiping, right? So it's a funny game. And then we have the 3DS version. Yeah, no longer on the DS, the 3DS. Ooh boy, minigame collection on a new console? No, 2D platformer. What? And it's not good. Functionally, it works. Truly the Bubsy 3D of the Rabbids universe. Say whatever you will about the quality, but damn it, this is a platformer. The attempt at further variety is appreciated, don't get me wrong, but this game fails so hard at where Rabbids Go Home succeeded, changing up the formula and adapting the Rabbids trademark quote-unquote humor to create an adventure that feels fresh. This game didn't do that. This is as derivative as you can get when it comes to a 2D platformer, but hey, Travel in Time did introduce the washing machine into the franchise. Fans of the Mario plus Rabbids games certainly care about the universe's deep timeline, so it's good to know where the origin is, right? But now, listen, the year is 2011. Rabbids fever may not be stopping anytime soon, but the general hype for the Wii has dwindled greatly, and the 3DS is in the process of trying to capture a more hardcore audience to offset the poor initial sales. The typical's Rabbid gameplay just ain't cutting it anymore. At this time, it's clear that Ubisoft was just phoning it in. 2012 saw Rabbids Rumble on the 3DS, which is this dare I say, horrendous board game minigame collection revolving around collecting these different Rabbids and pitting them up against each other in turn-based battles, and dear God, why is the board game frame rate this bad? And then we got Rabbids Land as a Wii U launch title. Another terrible board game minigame collection that, hey, at the very least, it did attempt the asynchronous multiplayer thing with the TV players and the gamepad user doing two different things for the minigames. Like, that's kind of neat, but it still loses its luster like 10 minutes in. I kind of knocked this game just for trying to stick to the Wii U's gimmicks in general. Like, it suffers from the typical Wii U issues of pick up the gamepad, put down the gamepad, pick up the Wii remote, detach the nunchuck, plug it back in. Hell, at least Amiibo Festival sticks to just the gamepad. The cameos around this time are off the charts too. The global Rabbid phenomenon infiltrated TMNT Smash Up for the Wii as playable fighters. The Rabbids also make an appearance in Chess Master Grandmaster Edition as playable fighters. The other Wii U launch game, Zombie U, well, initially you weren't against zombies. The game was titled Killer Freaks from Outer Space, and it was going to be against these crazy mutant alien Rabbids, which honestly seemed pretty cool. There was even a playable demo back when it was initially revealed, and this looks way more interesting than the actual game that we got. Ubisoft, why do you hate fun? The Rabbids were even planned to be enemies in Rayman Legends per an early leaked trailer, which would have been a great way to circle back to the Rabbids being Rayman's villains all the way back in 2006. And hell, what's even crazier about this timeline, this was the trailer that damn near revealed Amiibo. Nobody knew the controller could scan figures before this moment. This was how we knew. That's how absurd all of this is. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter which departments of Ubisoft wanted to do interesting things with this franchise and universe. It is way safer to just do what we have been doing this entire time. Look at all the money we're getting. Why would you screw this up? Loud screaming furballs in their own little universe playing minigames at the sacrifice of actually doing something cool. Sorry, are you upset that I didn't talk about Rabbids Alive and Kicking for the Xbox 360? Well, who cares? It's another minigame collection, but this time based on the Kinect. And then Rabbids Invasion on PS4 and Xbox? Well, it's that cartoon where they're loud and obnoxious, but sometimes you can interact with it. Oh my god! God, there were a few mobile games during the mid-2010s too, like most of them have been delisted at this point, but like, it's not looking good, Rabbid Rose. Rab Rose.
But then we fast forward to May 2017, where everything changes.
2 months into the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, something nobody had ever thought about ever before quickly becomes a reality. A brand new game gets leaked onto the internet, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I think saying the world was stunned is a bit of an understatement. What the hell do you mean this crossover is happening? Also, Yoshi has a gun? It seemed like absolutely nothing about this was gonna work and Ubisoft was gonna ruin Mario the same way they ruined Rayman, but quite frankly, leave it to the main director of the project, Davide Soliani, crying about his game's reveal at E3 2017 as the thing that made people take this game seriously. It's then when the new reality finally showed itself. We were gonna get a simplified tactical RPG with a beautiful art style and a more subdued take on the Rabbids sense of humor, where people start to realize that for the first time since Rabbids Go Home, somebody's taking these guys seriously again. Yes! And Yoshi has a gun! And all it took was attaching them to the biggest character in all of gaming. God, why didn't I think of that sooner? Rayman may be back to being dead once again, but at least this is kinda cool. Many years later, with the wow factor completely gone, I don't care, man. Kingdom Battle is still a great game. The personality just oozes from this world. The cutscenes are so beautifully animated. The Grand Kirkhope composed soundtrack is fantastic. Some of the enemy designs, like the rabbidifying Mario characters, that's genius. The general gameplay loop is really satisfying, and even the Mario forms of Rabbid characters in your party are really endearing. Rabbid Peach being obsessed with selfies should be incredibly cringe, but it ends up being a really charming character trait. Same goes for Rabbid Yoshi being absolutely insane. This is definitely someone who avoids paying their taxes. It's not a perfect game, like the base level themes are pretty generic, Mario can never leave your 3-character party, and most of the difficulty is saved for the endgame and postgame content, but even still, I was saying this for years after it initially launched and it still holds true today. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is one of the best surprises during the entire Switch's life. Now, Rabbid Peach dancing to Naughty Girl by Beyonce and shaking her hips to the word sexy? That's one of the worst surprises of my entire life. So when we got a full-blown sequel in 2022 with Sparks of Hope, I was so pumped. The wow factor may be completely non-existent for this one, but now we can get a much more polished RPG adventure, and sure enough, that's what we got. Much grander environments with more varied and original themes, a complete shift of a battle system that foregoes grid-based to distance-based, which is a lot of fun. More customization options with your party, as well as the brand new equipable Spark system, which are these little like Lumas with rabbit faces, which are, you know, some of the most cursed things I've ever seen, but you know, even though that unease doesn't go away for the entire game, it's still fun. The only true downside is there's more voice acting, which should be a positive, but only the helper Beepo has full voice acting, while everyone else just gets the occasional spoken lines.
Beware that this dimension works quite differently than our own. You cannot move after you shoot.
And as weird, we should have just had no voice acting at all at that point. Oh, and also, Rabbid Yoshi is no more. They got him. Shame. He was a nice guy too. But yeah, once again, great game. I think at the end of the day, I prefer the simplicity of Kingdom Battle to Sparks of Hope, and would have preferred a sequel to dive more into Mario references with the Rabbid twists like the first game got, but as it stands, this Mario plus Rabbids combo pack goes down as some of my favorite games during this entire console cycle. They also represent a very small sampling of downloadable content done right, which, from Ubisoft, that's insane. Both adventures have no shortage of content right out of the box, but Kingdom Battle gave us more difficult missions, plus an entire mini-campaign based on Donkey Kong, complete with Rabbid Cranky Kong, a completely unique land to explore, with brand new mechanics to play around with, and even some references to Donkey Kong 64? Unheard of. And then Sparks of Hope DLC brought us more missions with the Tower of Doom, a new story chapter with the last Spark Hunter, and even Rayman returning in the Phantom Show. It's so cool. Kinda like the base game though, there is a lack of references that would have made things more enjoyable, like there's not really much here that actually screams Rayman, but still, fun time, and I'm happy he's back. For now. He's probably gonna die after this anyway, but I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. It also felt like Ubisoft genuinely wanted to celebrate these games existing. Alongside each title's releases, they created a handful of Rabbids figurines that, you know, for an amiibo collector like me, they fit the collection just fine, even if this is totally just plastic with no actual functionality, but still, it's pretty cool. You can even get a big one if you want. Guys, I really think this is it this time. I can finally say that I like the Rabbids in confidence. I don't have to shy away from it anymore. Like, yeah, okay, the origin story with the minigame collections are whatever, I'm sure some of you got nostalgia for it, and I'm sorry if I ruined your childhood games, but let's be honest with ourselves here. This is where it's at. I can go back and hype up how good Rabbids Go Home was in total confidence, and I have no problem saying that the Mario games are excellent as well. It may have taken a long time to get to this point, and it's crazy to say out loud, but I love the Rabbids. Rabbids Party of Legends released in 2022, and it's just another minigame collection, but this time it's China themed. Ah!